As you already know, ladies and gentlemen, it just does not stop. Welcome to Stories Written by a Current Prisoner with your favorite journalist, Tony. Sincerely, on my behalf, ladies and gentlemen, I just can't emphasize it enough. I sincerely appreciate your support, even the ones that don't like me. It's all love at the end of the day. Thank you. Thank you for keeping the show alive, man. I would not be here if it wasn't for you. I would not have encountered all these inmates, all these lifers. I would have not met him if it wasn't for you guys keeping the show alive. So sincerely, thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's Friday. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Be safe. Be safe. And ladies and gentlemen, summer's almost up, man. That means we're already at the halfway mark of this year. You still have time to enroll for next year's semester, man. Excuse me, the next semester starts, I think, September? So, you got 2-3 months to prepare yourself. And, hey, get after it, man. Chase your dreams. Quit wasting your time, man. And seek that next level. Because, hey, man, it's at the palm of your hands. You can make it happen. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, man, this story in particular gets very deep. Very, very deep. We talk about what compels a person to cover their face like that. It's very interesting. The amount of friends this individual has lost is disturbing. And how it impacted the family. It gets very deep, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, I won't waste your time. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Much love.
What do they call you?
They call me, my nickname is Chinos.
What are you incarcerated for, and how long is your sentence?
I got busted, incarcerated for carjacking, kidnapping, use of a deadly weapon, and second-degree robbery. They gave me a total max term of 14 years and 8 months with 3 strikes.
Where are you from out here on the streets?
I'm from Oxnard, California, down south. I used to be from a gang named Colonia Chiques.
I want to go ahead and thank you, Chino, man, for taking the time out of your day and being able to open up on this show, Stories Written by a Current Prisoner. I sincerely appreciate it on my behalf, man. I know it's not an easy thing to open up, man. I just want to say thank you for allowing us to share your story, sir.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just want to start off by saying if you're going through the wrong path and you're living a life that you shouldn't be doing, I want to tell you that I've been there. I took the wrong path, and it made me come to prison and made me realize that life's better out there than in here. And whatever it might be, if you're drinking out there, doing drugs or whatever, you might have trauma or whatever it is that you're committing crimes and you don't know why. I just want to tell you that there's a better way. Prison is not the life, and I want to tell you that there's a way out of it. Like me, I'll start off with how everything came to be, why I was the way I was. I'll start off when I was I don't remember too much when I was a kid, but I do remember when I was a child, I experienced trauma. I went through a traumatizing experience. I was really abused as a child at 9 years old, and that's where I think. And now that I think back as being a 32-year-old man, that's where I start thinking, and I go back and I think, what made me do what I commit crime and steal and be a thief and everything? And I think that's the reason, one of the reasons that why I became a criminal and why I was always that lost, always running away, that scared with fear, and always selfish person. And through going, it's kind of hard opening up, but it happened a long time ago. And if you're a young kid, a young girl out there, even if you're an older man, an older sister out there, and you're lost and maybe you feel so, maybe you feel like taking your life, or maybe that's why you do drugs, maybe that's why you drink a lot, and maybe those are the reasons why you might have gone through something traumatizing. Like most inmates in here, I've talked to a lot of inmates, and they all gone through some type of trauma that led them to a life of crime. From reading testimonies and hearing it from other prisoners, and I just want to tell you that if you're, like I said, if you're ever thinking about suicide or why you do drugs, why you do this, you just know that there's a way out. Me, for me, I committed that carjacking and that kidnapping. Ever since that happened to me, I started committing crime. I started running away from home. I started doing drugs just to forget and forget why I was scared and had fear and all that anger inside of me, always angry and always trying to make other people feel my pain. I was always running away and lost, and the drugs and the alcohol made it easier to live my life, not to think of what happened to me. And yeah, throughout childhood, I got arrested not days from when that happened to me. I got arrested for burglary, then for putting a knife in some other kid's neck and threatening him because he was kind of bullying me and stuff. So I did that, and just shoplifting and little petty stuff here and there. But that's my childhood growing up. I was always fighting and everything. And I'll tell you about when I committed my crime. A lot of things happened in my life, but I'll tell you, long story short, I was getting intoxicated a lot every day. I would go to stores and steal, shoplift, and get vodka, liquor, whatever I could get my hands on to get high and just forget everything that ever happened to me. And that night, I was with some friends, and I was drinking a lot. I had barely gotten out of juvenile hall doing 4 months. I was in and out from 9 years old all the way to 18, 19 when I came to prison. I was in and out. I went to group homes and everything. And when I was 18, I got out of juvenile hall, and they put me in county jail because they said I escaped from county jail, which was not really the case. I just cut a house arrest that I had on my feet. I cut it off, and they charged me with breaking out of jail, which was my house, and I cut the monitor. Well, they let me go. I seen the psychiatrist, and they say, you know what, you're stable. You could go. There's too many inmates. We're letting people go, so they let me out. I wish maybe I could have served a little bit more time so I could feel like I wanted my freedom, but they let me out early. And yeah, man, I started again, always thinking that I was guaranteed to have a good time. I was always selfish, thinking that, hey, every time I get out, I need to take that time that's been lost and party and hang out with girls and do this, hang out with the homies, do this and that. And I found out that that's not the way to live, man. You just got to be patient. You just got to be calm. You don't commit no crimes, man, because you're going to come to prison. It's not a nice place, man. And, yeah, that's what happened, man. I started getting drunk. And that day, I got really drunk. I started drinking like a couple 24 ounces Bud Ice and some 211s, and I was real drunk. I went to a friend's house, man, and I remember going down the alley to use the restroom to take a quick piss, right? And I remember there was an open gate and there was music. So I went in there, and there was a Mexican family in there. They were all drinking, and they were so drunk they didn't even notice me. They just let me enjoy and be right there enjoying the party. They didn't even know who I was, and they started giving me liquor, and I started getting more drunk and more drunk, man. And I ended up stealing some of their beer and running out of the gate. And with that beer, 2 cases of beer that I stole from them, I started getting more intoxicated. The night went on, and there's a lot of things that I don't really remember because I was intoxicated, but I do remember getting invited to like a little barbecue that night, and I went to that barbecue, and I started drinking more, man. And I just want to tell you, if you're out there, man, if you need to be patient. That's the key that I found. You need to be patient. If you're looking to make a quick buck, just be patient. Work hard for it, man. Don't steal. Don't go out there committing robberies, because something that you steal, man, you steal $5-10 is gonna cost you a year, 2 years in prison, and you just gotta be patient. Don't commit crimes, man. It's not worth it, man. And that's what happened, man. I got drunk that night, and I was having little issues with my ex-girlfriend. I was really jealous of her because she was out there partying with guys and everything, and all that anger, all that jealousy got me real angry. And I remember after the barbecue, I went home, And, our family was poor. We didn't have a phone in the house, but my brother had a cell phone. And I remember, it was a long story, but I tried to get the phone from him, but he was sleeping on top of it. We got into an argument. We were going to fight. And my mom got in the middle, and she told not to fight. And I ran out of the house, man, out of the heat of anger. And I started walking down the street. And that's when I remember, man, I was just out there lost, trying to get all that anger out. And I remember looking at a car, and there was a light in the car. And I remember going up to that car, man, and there was somebody in there. And for some reason, I just wanted to take out all that anger, all that jealousy out of my system. And I remember opening up the door, man, and beating the guy and assaulting him and telling him to give me his car, man. And I should have been patient and just walked away, man, but I don't know why I wanted the car or wanted to make people feel what I was feeling, man. And I battered the dude. I took his car. I took the guy in the car, and that was kidnapping. I didn't know if you move somebody 2-3 feet without their will, that's kidnapping, man. And so they got me. They didn't get me that night, but a few days later, they got me, Yeah, they got me. They got me because I stole the guy's cell phone. That was robbery. I used the phone, and I started making phone calls, and they tracked down every phone number that I called and dialed. They started tracking down every phone, and they seen that I called my parents' house, my mother's house, and they seen that it was addressed to me because I went to county jail before, and I put that number in the records saying that I lived there. And so they had me as a suspect because I went to county jail and I put that number. They had me and my brother as suspects because we put down that was our residence. And so they tracked us down, and they tracked me down because my brother started making phone calls to his probation officer. And once they seen that they called the probation officer, they said, this guy's in probation, so let's get him when he goes to his probation. And it seems so weird, man, because I didn't think I was going to get caught, man. And I just want to say, man, if you're out there and you get away with stuff, robberies, whatever it might be, man, you get away with it once, twice, maybe even 10 times, bro, but it's not going to be worth it at the end of the day. Now they got cameras everywhere.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
You're bound to get caught, man, and you're going to come to prison. You're not going to like it, like I said, but that's what happened with me, man. They caught me at the probation office when I joined my brother to go with him to his probation. And for a long time I thought my brother set me up, but, I read all the paperwork and everything. It just happened. I guess maybe it happened because God wanted it to happen. I was living a life that wasn't right with him. And maybe this is time for me to think about what I did. I'm remorseful about what I did. I asked that guy to forgive me for assaulting him and taking his car, man. I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, man, I really sorry about doing that, man. But
can I ask you a question, man?
Yeah.
Obviously, man, I can see, man, that you're completely covered in tattoos. And it just strikes me as curious.
You
man.
have 60 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you covered in tattoos, man? I spoke to another person. He was sort of like you, man. He was completely covered from it. His whole face was covered, man. And he told me that he was damaged. That he got those tattoos when he was in a very dark place. He was in a very dark time in his life, and that compelled him.
Yeah.
That triggered him to get all those tattoos, man. And that's why I asked you, man.
Yeah.
Why did you get those tattoos, sir?
Okay, man. I'll tell you this, man. I don't know why other people get their tattoos, but something you just said, that they were in a very dark place, that's kind of true with me as well, because a lot of times people ask me, why did you get those tattoos, man? Why did you cover your face with all these tattoos? And I lie to them, and I tell them, oh, man, it's because I do tattoo work. I do art, and I like the art. But the truth about it is, going back to my childhood and what happened to me, it's kind of funny that you say you talked to somebody else that tattooed their face, and I did it because similarly, like him, I was feeling in a very dark place, like that lost little child that got traumatized as a child. And every time I would look in the mirror, man, it's crazy. It's like a battle within. It's a mental thing, I guess. And when you're in prison, man, there's nothing but time. There's alcohol, there's drugs, but they're hard to get to, man. And those were my weapons to forget about what happened to me. I was always running away from that. But in prison, you're stuck in here 24 hours, sometimes in your cell, and you get a lot of thoughts in your mind, and you start reliving experiences and traumas. So every time I would look in the mirror, I would see that small child that went through that trauma. So I didn't like seeing myself as a kid in the mirror every time I looked in the mirror. So little by little, I started covering up my face, tattoo here, tattoo there, until it got out of control and I covered up my whole face. But now it's kind of weird. Now every time I look in the mirror, I don't see that traumatized kid no more. I don't see that younger me crying to me asking for help. All I see is tattoos, man. I don't see that kid no more that I was when I was young. I'm 32 years old, man, and I just want to say, man, like I said, if you're out there and you're a young kid, a young girl, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of, there's monsters in this world that do things to little people like that, even older women, older men. There's people that do those things. But what has helped me is reading the Bible, man. I've really gotten into the word of the Lord, even though I'm not saying I'm spotless without sin and I don't commit sin. Everybody commits sin. The only one that didn't commit sin was Jesus Christ. When he came, he was spotless without sin, and he was crucified with his precious blood to redeem us. He died for the wicked and the righteous, and that's what helps me and keeps me going every day, man. It's something that it helps me out every day to keep going and wake up and go to sleep, and it helps me with everything I experience in life, And yeah, man, that's the reason why I tattooed my whole face, was because it was like a battle within, a really dark place that I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror. So that was like a coping mechanism that I did to tattoo my whole face, man.
Can I ask you, man, do you regret these tattoos, man?
No, you know what? I do, because people are gonna look. I go home in about a year, man. It's been 13 years and 4 months I've been in prison, and in prison I've done nothing but get in trouble, man. I was supposed to go home within, like 10 years, but I got in trouble, and like I said, it goes back to my childhood. Being in here, guess what, man? There's you can't just walk away from people. Right here, there's child, there's predators, there's people like that. And my whole term, I've been evil. I was evil, an evil person, always assaulting these people and battering them and beating them up, hitting them with cups, kicking them in the face, always rushing these people to get my anger out. But in the end, I always felt empty and lonely, man. It didn't help out. And like I said, man, it goes back to the Bible and believing in God, man, and believing in the higher power, man, that's helped me get through those tough times, man. And I do regret the tattoos, but then I don't, because it kind of helps me out. Like I said, going back to that, it helps me out not think about those things,
What exactly do you have on your face, man? I see that you have some on your neck, on your face.
Yeah. If you look at the pictures, I have like I used to be. Look, when I was out there, I associated with gangs. I say I'm an associate because I was never really jumped into the hood, right? You have to get jumped in order to be from the hood. I never got jumped in, I guess. It's rules that we have living if you lived in the hood, in the projects, there was a rule. You don't have to get jumped in if you grew up in the area, in the projects, in the hood. But if you were outside of the neighborhood, it was mandatory that you had to get jumped into the hood and stuff. But the tattoos that I have in my face are symbols of gangs. I got East Side on my head. I got Oxnard behind my head. I got 805 on my neck. I got cowboy stars from the gang I was associating with. I got that. And I just got different little things, teardrops, 3 dots, my crazy life, a bandana on my forehead, 5150, smile now, smile later. I got little different things here and there, you know.
Which one hurt the most, man? Just out of curiosity.
Which one hurt the most, man? I gotta say, which one hurt the most? I gotta say my eyelids. It didn't hurt that much, but it was just kind of scary getting the needle in your eye, you know, like on your eyelids, man. But that was painful. The lips, my lips were painful. What else would think? The chin, the jawbone's gotta be the most painful one that I had, you know. And the ears hurt real bad, man.
May I ask what your family's reaction was to this? You know, when they see you and they're like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. You know what? All my family tripped out when I did it, but my mom's. I was surprised. She didn't really get surprised, because I had a few tattoos when I was in the streets. I had a teardrop on my eye. I had 5150 on my head. I had Oxnard behind my head. So I was already having a little bit of tattoos out there in the neighborhood, you know. I got them in my neighborhood. And so when I got my whole face tattooed, all she said when she came to visit, all she said was, ay, mijo, my son, why did you do that, right? And I just told her, I've never told her why was the real reason, like I told you, why I got those tattoos, but I just told her I like being tattooed, you know?
May I ask what the hardest thing about serving this 14-year sentence has been for you?
Oh, yeah, man, I could get into that, man. Look, man.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Let me tell you the hardest thing, man. The hardest thing has to be, being in prison, man. You have to put up walls, man. Like I said, there's a lot of predators in here. I came in at the age of 19 years old. I was in the county. I came to prison at 20 years old. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I was this or that, man. I was a knucklehead, but when I came in here, there's rules, man. There's politics. And I made the decision once. It was crazy because when I went to the county, I ran with the homies from Colonia, right, with the Southsiders. But something crazy happened when I was being moved from the county jail into another county jail that looked more like prison. I bagged up my property, man, and they bagged it for me. I got off the bus, and they gave me somebody else's property. And when I opened up that property, it wasn't mine, and I was about to tell the officer, hey, look, this isn't mine, but there was a Bible inside of there. That's how I came to know the Lord. There was a Bible, and I've never even seen a Bible. You know, I maybe seen it once in juvenile hall, but I didn't know what it was about. I just knew that it was God. I knew that people call him God, and he made things, you know. And it was crazy because when I went back to that county jail, there's rules you gotta follow. There's things you gotta do, and I just remember feeling so lonely, man. It seemed like my world just shut down, man. Everything was stressful. I knew I was gonna go to prison for a long time. They had a lot of evidence on me. My homeboy, my co-defendant snitched on me. Well, he told on me. You know, I shouldn't be saying snitch, but he told on me, and he said it was me. So I knew I was coming to prison, you know. And I didn't want to continue living, doing crime, doing bad things. I was remorseful for what I did, and I needed to change. So when I opened up that Bible, man, I started.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I started reading it, man, and it opened up my eyes. I was always worried about missing out, always in and out of juvenile hall, never having to go with my friends and party or have a good time. I was always saying, I'm going to miss out, And in the end of the day, when I read that Bible, I was like, I'm not missing out on nothing. I'm getting close to God and getting to know Him. For He says, look for me and you will find me. I will never abandon you. And I read so many things in the Bible that it opened. It was like I was blind. I was blind to the Bible. I didn't know. I was blind to God. I didn't know who He was. And once I met Him, He took that thing off my eyes, the blindness, and He opened up my heart. It's like I had a heart of concrete, man. Even in the Bible says, we're all, when we don't know Him, we have a heart of concrete. But he get close to Him, and He's going to give you a heart of flesh. And that's what He did, man. He gave me a heart of flesh. So I ended up deciding to not following the wrong footsteps anymore and not run with the gang. So I ran Christian. But when I did that led to fights and stuff like that. So when I came to prison, when I got off the bus, I made the decision. It was either run with the Southsiders, run with the gang, still keep running with the gang and participating in criminal actions, or they call it piecing up, protect the custody. And I'm not going to sit here and lie, I went active. Nah, man, I took the path I did, and I went into what they call SNY. I didn't really know what it was at the time. They just told me it was like for people that want to be like do their time and go home. But once I came over here, I seen all the, it's like you said, what is it about prison? The hardest thing, man. I walked into these yards and there was older people that were in child. And being so young, man, these people are predators. They try to be like get on you, and they just look at you like a victim, man. And that was probably the hardest thing, trying to run as a Christian at such a young age. It was hard because a lot of people looked at me so young. But the story goes on, man, and I feel bad because I should have taken another route, but a lot of the times in here, you gotta make your presence known. Like, hey, man, I'm nobody to be messed around with, So I was very violent in prison. The side I decided to go, I was beating up child molesters and rapists. A lot of them always told on me. I was always in the hole, always in the shoe, always doing time. Without nothing, just staring at a wall. That's the hardest thing, is when you don't have property or nothing, man, you're going to be in a cell, staring at the wall, doing nothing, man. That's probably one of the hardest things, not having nothing in here and being by yourself. And, I mean, I want to give an advice, too, like an opinion. If you got a wife, you got kids, you got family, the hardest thing is not seeing them. And the hardest thing is trying to get them to be by your side, but just because you got locked up, man, doesn't mean that the life stops for you. Guess what? Your wife, she's probably gonna leave you. Your kids, they're gonna forget about you. Your girlfriends or whatever you got, they're all gonna forget. It's gonna seem like they're gonna forget. They won't even answer your phone calls and stuff like that. That's probably the hardest thing that I had to experience in prison. Not seeing my family members and feeling like they left me alone,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
So, Jose, you're kind of one of the very first individuals that I've spoken to coming out of that Oxnard area, man. Do you feel comfortable with kind of explaining to me what the demographics are around there? I know it's a little ways of LA, but of course I understand that there's gangs there, there's sets there. As a matter of fact, a lot of young people have lost their lives there. What is it like out there, man? Is there several different gangs within Oxnard that just feud against each other? Is it Oxnard against another city? Like what is it like?
Nah, it's funny right now that you said that a lot of people lose their lives. I was just thinking about it this week. I've had about 6 or 7 homeboys that have died, been murdered for the gang. And I think about them, I grew up with them and stuff, and it kind of hits me at the heart because they were my boys, and they had to lose their life to getting stabbed or getting shot, whatever, you know. And it's real hard out there, man. It's living out there. It's infested with gangs, man. It's not Oxnard against another. Well, it is. Nobody likes us in Oxnard, you know. My gang that I was associated with, nobody likes us. We go against everybody. It goes against gangs in Oxnard with other gangs. And yeah, man, I was just remembering it, kind of like I felt it at the heart, man. That one of my boys, man, he got shot in the head with a shotgun, and I arrived there a couple minutes later, and I got to see him like pass away and die, you know. And half of his face was missing, man. He got shot with a sawed-off shotgun, and many others got stabbed, many others got shot. And, you know, it's a sad thing. Me thinking about it, it's a sad thing losing a friend like that, you know.
What was his name?
Okay, well, I'll tell you like this. One of them that got shot in the head, the one I'm talking about, Baby Mo. The homeboy Baby Mo died. He got shot in the head. My homeboy Little Stutters got shot in the chest. My other homeboy, he was barely coming up. He was a young kid, you know. He was only 13 years old. He got shot a few times. My homeboy Little Beaker, he got shot at 14. He got shot a few times and died. My homeboy Little Sleepy, he got shot and died. My other homeboy little Solo, he got stabbed too and he died. And who else died? The other homeboy Little Azteca, he died off a car crash being under the influence, you know. But yeah, even my cousin, little one, he was from the hood too. He died, but he was just intoxicated. Somebody ran him over. But there's a lot of, it was living in Oxnard, man. It was chaotic, man. There's nothing but problems, you know. It's everybody's just lost out there. Everybody's just trying to be gang members, and they don't know that what they're doing is gonna lead them to two paths: to losing their lives or coming to prison and never getting out. And if you're in a gang, you're living that life, and the street is getting high, drinking or whatever, man, it's only gonna lead you to two paths, man: prison or dead, man. It's either one. It's not gonna. You might have think it's fun for the minute, but in the end, man, you're gonna be suffering. You're gonna be in prison, and you're really not gonna have anybody, man. And it sucks, you know. It's a hard thing to do, you know.
Do you remember how this impacted their families? You know, seeing their moms, their brothers, their sisters reacting to their brother getting killed.
Well, man, yeah, I remember when my homeboy got shot in the head, right? His brother was the older homie. He was in tears, man. Everybody was in tears, you know. He was crying, he was screaming, and just looking at the homeboy like kick and like coughing up blood. It was like, and the what are they called, the ones that trying to revive him, the nurses or whatever they're called, the ambulance people, they're trying to revive him, and he just died, man. And I remember seeing the mothers, his mom just crying in tears, screaming like hysterical, man. It's just everybody, the whole neighborhood, as soon as when somebody dies, everybody comes out, man. Everybody from the hood comes out. There's like 50 to 100 people out there just wondering what happened and trying to console the mother of the homeboy that died, you know, and trying to console the other homie, his brother, you know, and trying to console them and telling them it's gonna be all right, man. But that's like I guess that's just the gang life, man. There's nothing in it, you know. There's nothing in there, man.
How does this affect you mentally? You know, does it put you more on edge, knowing that, hey, you know what, you might damn well lose your life. You might get caught slipping at any given day, going to your mailbox, going down the street. Your time might just be up. How does this affect you?
See, now, when I was out there, man, I almost lost my life a few times, man. I got stabbed one time. I got shot at twice, but the bullets missed me. One day we were just riding in a normal day, riding with the homeboys in the truck, and another cop pulled up right next to us, and gang signs were thrown, and the dudes just pulled out the gun and started dumping, started shooting, and it was crazy because every time I would get
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
that time that we got shot, that time, I remember everybody in the car was scared. Everybody, one of my homeboys, the glass hit him. This homeboy is the same guy that I thought was, well, he was my boy at the time, but then when I got caught for this, he told on me, and that's how they got me to come to prison, because he told on me. I forgave them already. It was, he got scared of for whatever reason. He told on me whatever, it's under the bridge, But I remember he got hit with glass on his forehead, and he was like traumatized. He couldn't move, he couldn't talk, and I was laughing at him and making fun of him. I was like, "What? This is your first time you get shot at?" And because he was bleeding from the head because the glass hit him, and he thought he got shot. And it's kind of funny because it didn't scare me, man. It just didn't scare me because all my life I have always wanted. I had that suicidal mind where I said, if I die, I die, And another time, I was in the hood, and we were just hanging out, me and my brother and some girls, and the dudes from another gang pulled up. They were deep in my barrio, and I disrespected them, and they disrespected us, and I ran towards them, and when I ran towards them, they just started blasting, man. They just boom, 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 but they didn't get us. And then the other time I was caught slipping in the park, man. Somebody tried to, stab me in the face, but I put my hand and they stabbed me in my hand. But now I know that I'm getting released almost in a year, man. And I'm gonna try to do the best, cause there's nothing in the game, man. There's nothing. You might think, like when I was running around with the homeboys and everything, they said, "Hey, man, being from the gang is cool, man. It opens up doors for you. You get street fame, you get girls, you get all this." But it's not true, man. It's all nonsense. Now that I sit here in prison and say those other gang members that we used to fight with, now I'm in here in prison with them, and we're like best friends, man. We're dogs, we like have each other's backs, but in the streets we can't stand each other, and that's something, I guess, it's just maybe because you're young and that's a lifestyle that you were taught. There was nobody to look up to tell you how life is. And the only way there is the gang life or whatever. But now that I've been in prison and I got busted at 19, I'm 32 now. It's been 13 years and 4 months. Now I've matured a lot, and I know that there's nothing in that life. But as in me going back to the hood and everything, if I lose my life or whatever, it's not okay, but I'll be alright with it if I continue to follow the Lord and do what the Lord tells me to do and try to save lives out there, I'm not into the gang life no more. I'm not into doing drugs. I'm not into doing alcohol. I stopped doing drugs 10 years ago. I took what they call a bath salt, crystal meth, and that really, I started hearing voices. I started seeing things, and that really messed me up, and I've never touched crystal meth, cocaine, or nothing again, man. And following the Lord as well, He healed me from those things that were bad in my life,
May I ask, man, what are your plans, man? You got 1 year left. You've been incarcerated since you've been a young man. Obviously, the world has changed, drastically since you've been inside, man. What are your plans, man? What are your goals?
My goals, my plans are, I know it's going to be hard looking for work, man, because all these tattoos and stuff. And it's hard to say. I could think of a million things to do. This is the first time I came to prison, man. This is the first time I've been locked up for so long. And every time when I was young, it was just, have fun, drink, do drugs. But now I have a different mentality, man. I want to, what I miss the most, man? Being in prison, it's the same routine every day, man. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you drink coffee. Most of the day is drinking coffee and you're staying up all day. And you start missing working, man. I miss working. I mean, in here you could get little jobs, but it's not the same because they pay you 8 pennies an hour, man. For working in here, for working for like 10 hours, they only pay you 10 pennies, 15 pennies. That's all you get paid, man. So I'm gonna be real, I don't like working here because I used to feel like not a slave, man, but like they're kind of using me, man, to clean up and do all this stuff just for 8-10 pennies, But I want to get out there. I want to work. I want to have, what I read in the Bible, man. It says the best thing. It came from a king in the Old Testament. His name was Solomon, the greatest king that ever lived in the ancient times. He was rich. He experienced everything. He set his mind to experience what was life all about. And he said the best thing he ever realized was for people to work hard, to get a good day's work every day, and to enjoy the work, and having sweat on your head and working hard, to enjoy that, man, because that's the only thing that really brought him pleasure. He said he had riches, he had women, he had all this, and that's the best advice he gave, man, to work hard and just enjoy you working hard, But like I said, I'm planning to be what they call, I'm a Bible thumper in here, man. I'm more like what they call Bible thumper, a Christian that follows Jesus Christ. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'm sinless, I'm spotless, I don't sin, because there's times that people get in your face. There's times that people, like the other day, I was praying with one of the brothers, and they started laughing at me, making fun of me because I was praying. But, I just asked the Lord, make me a soldier of Christ, and don't let me be ashamed of you, so you won't be ashamed of me in the resurrection. There's more to the story, but I just want to be what they call a fisher, man. I want to save lives. I did so much.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I did. You want me to call back?
Yes, sir.
Hey, where I left off, man, I was saying, now that I'm 32 years old, I realize that I've hurt a lot of people. I cheated, I stole, I did a lot of wrong things, and now, I don't know if it's maybe just being in prison, I realize that losing your freedom is like, when you're free, man, you could do whatever you want, but when you're in prison, you're stuck in here, man. There's nothing to do, and I've done so many bad things that now I want to do good, man. I wanna help people out there. I wanna, just from the smallest thing, maybe helping out a homeless person need a meal, or helping people that need help, just free of charge, whatever. Don't even pay me. I just feel like I need to do the right thing because I've done so much bad in my life that it just, I feel ashamed of the things I've done, and now I want to fix it. Now that I'm a grown man, I want to fix things. I don't know if it's being in prison. They say you get rehabilitated. I don't think it's mostly being in prison that put me rehabilitated. I think it's more that God, I was disciplined. It says in the Bible, those whom he loves, he disciplines and corrects. So that's what I've been taking it as. I'm being disciplined for every wrong thing I did, and I'm being corrected for my things that I've done, and that's what I want to be, man, a fisher of man. I want to save lives. I want to bring people, snatch them out of that it says snatch your brother out of the flames and save them, that's what I want to do, man. I want to be a better person,
Absolutely, Jose.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I actually brings me a lot of joy, man, to hear you, speak so positively, man. And I'm so happy to hear, man, that you're on this path, man, of greatness. I can already tell, man, that once you get released, man, you are going to be successful, man. You are going to achieve those goals, man. That whatever you set your mind to, man. And, for the people out there, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear his story, man, and take heed, man, and understand that it ain't worth it. That if you have a chance right now to correct your lifestyle and to change your life, then please go ahead and do so before you ruin it, because all it takes is one simple mistake. But Jose, sir, man, before we end this conversation, sir, is there anything else, man, that you would like to say, or any last message?
Yeah, I want to tell, if you're out there, man, and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, man, and you want, I don't know, whatever it might be, you're committing crime, man, and you can't, maybe it's you don't have a job, man. For me, I didn't have a job, man, and I was always trying to make that quick money, man, and I just want to say it's not worth it. And the key word that I have learned that I always tell myself when I'm gonna get mad, when I'm gonna do something wrong, when I want to fight or something, be patient. I'll say it 3 times, man. Be patient, be patient, be patient. You'll find a job. You'll find whatever you're trying to find, man. Just be patient. Don't be quick to do the bad thing, man, because it's going to cost you your freedom. It's going to cost you everything. You're going to lose everything you ever loved, man. And I just don't want you to fall into the same steps that I did, It's not worth it, man, and prison's not a life. Nobody likes being in here. It's not a life for a human being to be locked behind a concrete wall 24/7. It's not a life, man. Just live your life and, try to be happy out there, man. Even if you're just struggling, just be patient, man. Be patient and things will happen for you,
You heard him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Jose, man. I sincerely appreciate you, man, and I wish you a lot of luck and success, man. God bless you, sir.
Hey, thank you, brother. God bless you, bro.